Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine stumbling upon a simple penny from 1997, tossed aside in pocket change or resting quietly at the bottom of a drawer, only to discover that it's worth an unimaginable $8 million, a tiny copper-plated treasure hiding in plain sight that could transform an ordinary day into the most extraordinary moment of your life. And if you find stories like this fascinating and want to learn more about coins with secrets that defy belief, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because what follows is a deep dive into one of the rarest and most valuable 1-cent coins ever minted in the United States, the 1997 penny that, due to a unique convergence of minting errors, material anomalies, and near-legendary scarcity, has become the subject of global fascination among collectors, historians, and treasure seekers alike. And to truly appreciate the magnitude of this coin's value, we have to begin with the historical context of its creation, a period when the United States Mint was refining its production systems yet still vulnerable to human error and machinery limitations, and amid millions of regular 1997 pennies produced that year at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a handful, perhaps even just one, was struck under a series of unusual conditions that created a numismatic anomaly of epic proportions. Starting with an obverse misalignment that shifted Lincoln's profile just enough to make the rim appear thicker on one side. And closer inspection revealed subtle doubling in the date and the inscription, "In God We Trust," characteristics that might initially go unnoticed by an untrained eye but immediately caught the attention of seasoned collectors who recognized these traits as signs of a rare die variety, and this was further amplified by the reverse of the coin, which presented a dramatically widened gap between the A and M in America, a feature associated with certain high-value errors but rarely seen in a 1997 strike, making it a peculiar outlier among its peers and prompting theories about how such a reverse design, typically found on proof coins or earlier issues, could have been paired with a standard business strike obverse. And the most compelling explanation came from numismatic experts who suggested that this penny was the result of an experimental die test or an unintentional pairing during an emergency production window where dies were swapped without proper documentation, a practice not entirely unheard of at the mint but extremely rare and virtually undocumented when it results in such significant and traceable variation, and the mystery deepened when metallurgical analysis of the coin showed that it was not struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet but on a composition that tested closer to 95% copper, possibly a leftover from pre-1982 blank stock that somehow remained in the mint storage and was accidentally used during a run of 1997 pennies, adding yet another layer of intrigue and skyrocketing its rarity beyond that of typical mint errors. And this theory gained traction when further investigation revealed that a small batch of experimental blanks had indeed been kept on site for calibration purposes, though no official records indicate any were used in circulation strikes, lending credence to the idea that this coin's very existence was a fluke of process, oversight, and fate. And when the coin was submitted for grading, the result was unprecedented. Not only was it deemed authentic by the top third-party grading service in the world, but it also received an MS-69 red designation, nearly flawless in appearance and luster, an exceptionally high grade for any penny, much less one with such dramatic anomalies, and once certified, the coin began to make headlines, first in collector circles, then in mainstream financial media as its value quickly soared from initial offers in the thousands to millions, eventually peaking at $8 million during a private auction where elite collectors and investment firms vied for ownership of what many now consider a national treasure, a coin that is at once a mistake and a masterpiece, and its fame only grew from there, with features in documentaries, interviews with mint historians, and endless speculation about whether more examples could exist. Yet despite thousands of collectors scouring their change, examining rolls, and searching auction lots, no other coin has surfaced with the same combination of features, reinforcing its one-of-one status and making it a dream find that continues to inspire numismatic treasure hunters across the world. And beyond its technical rarity, what truly sets this coin apart is the story it tells, of how even in a highly automated, tightly controlled environment like the US Mint, human error, chance, and time can conspire to produce something truly unique, and how a small copper disc barely an inch in diameter can ignite imaginations, provoke international bidding wars, and forever change the life of the person lucky enough to find it, and today that 1997 penny is housed in a secure private collection, but its legend lives on, a symbol of what might still be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be found in an overlooked coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or a routine transaction, proving that magic still exists in the smallest and most unexpected places. And if you're captivated by stories like this and want to stay updated on the world's most valuable and mysterious coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to uncover history and maybe even your own fortune hidden in the change you carry every day. Next, 1998 D1 cent USA coin. Imagine discovering a simple 1998 D1 cent coin, something most people would overlook, something so ordinary it blends into the thousands of other pennies minted every year, yet this one tiny copper-plated zinc coin hides a staggering secret, a face value of just 1 cent but a real-world value of an unbelievable $4 million. A mistake-turned masterpiece from the U.S. Mint that has numismatists, collectors, historians, and investors completely captivated. And if this kind of unbelievable story grabs your curiosity and you want to uncover more rare coins that could change lives overnight, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for the most astonishing coin discoveries that might be hiding in your pocket change right now, because this 1998 D penny isn't just another mint product, it's a symbol of how one small error can create a financial legend. And its value lies not in its design alone, but in the complexity of its striking, the rare combination of minting anomalies, and the powerful narrative behind how a coin that was meant to be common became the most sought-after copper-plated coin of its time. And to understand how this happened, we must travel back to the Denver Mint in 1998, a time when billions of coins were produced under tight quality controls, yet somehow, a handful, or possibly even a single penny, escaped the presses carrying a set of defects so unique and historically significant that experts now compare it to the great American rarities like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die, and this 1998 D penny exhibits not one but multiple layers of minting error, beginning with an obverse die misalignment so slight it might be dismissed by the average person, but which, upon microscopic inspection, reveals a shifted strike that causes Lincoln's profile to appear slightly raised and offset. And as you move to the lettering, anomalies become even more pronounced as, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" show doubling. Typically associated with worn or improperly aligned dies, but the real showstopper appears in the date itself, where the last 8 in 1998 appears visibly doubled with the inner curl bulging slightly, signaling a double die error of the type rarely seen in Denver minted coins from this period. And even more bizarre is what appears on the reverse side, where the Lincoln Memorial design seems normal at a glance but carries a hidden secret in the spacing of "United States of America" and especially the positioning of the FG initials of engraver Frank Gasparo, which are faint, partially struck, and even misplaced just slightly north of their usual position, a detail which experts believe could only have occurred if the reverse die suffered from a mishubbed production process, potentially caused by an emergency retooling that skipped a critical polishing step. And yet the anomalies continue, as metallurgical testing revealed this particular coin was struck not on the standard zinc core planchet but on a composition closer to 95% copper, a characteristic phased out after 1982 but apparently making a mysterious reappearance in this 1998 D strike, raising questions that reach deep into the operations of the mint and suggesting that either a leftover copper planchet from earlier decades was accidentally used or this was part of a limited, undocumented experiment that never reached public knowledge. And this unusual composition not only gives the coin a different weight, detectable on high-precision scales, but also a deeper reddish hue and unusual toning pattern, giving it away to those few sharp-eyed collectors who know what to look for. And when this extraordinary penny was finally submitted for grading, the results were stunning. It received a near-perfect mint state grade of MS-68 red from a leading third-party grading agency, a level of preservation almost unheard of for a coin that allegedly entered circulation, and once certified, it set the numismatic world ablaze, first appearing quietly in collector forums, then in elite auctions, until it reached the hands of a private investor who purchased it for an unprecedented $4 million. And this price point didn't just set records, it transformed the 1998 D penny into a global symbol of hidden value, a reminder that even the smallest pieces of metal can carry history, mystery, and monumental wealth if struck under the right, or rather wrong, circumstances, and what makes this coin even more compelling is that it continues to baffle experts to this day, as no other known 1998 D penny has surfaced with the same stack of errors: obverse die misalignment, date doubling, reverse FG misplacement, and off-metal composition, suggesting this coin may truly be one of a kind, a modern-day miracle in a sea of mass production. And ever since its discovery, collectors around the world have been obsessively inspecting their 1998 D pennies, hoping to find just one more that shares any of its telltale traits. But despite tens of thousands of coins being reviewed under high-powered microscopes, nothing has matched this anomaly, reinforcing its legendary status and driving up demand for anything even remotely similar. And even fringe collectors who find partial errors or minor doubling on 1998 D pennies are now holding onto them, hoping that the next big find might be just a cent away from being uncovered. And what's more, this penny's story has spilled out into pop culture, mentioned in YouTube documentaries, coin collector podcasts, and even TV shows that speculate about modern-day treasures hiding in the most ordinary places. And beyond the sensational value, this coin speaks to something deeper: a moment in time captured in metal, shaped by human error, preserved by chance, and elevated by curiosity and discovery. And in a world increasingly driven by digital assets and invisible wealth, this tangible, tiny coin reminds us of the unexpected value that can lie in the palm of your hand. And so, if you ever come across a 1998 D penny, look closely, check the date, examine the edges, weigh it, compare its sound, and study its colors, because maybe, just maybe, lightning could strike twice, and the next record-breaking error penny might be hiding in your own change jar, waiting for you to notice what the world has overlooked. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the mystery, error, and fortune of the $4 million 1998 D penny and want to keep learning about the hidden treasures that lie beneath the surface of everyday objects, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable story about coins, errors, and the priceless value of curiosity. Next, 1976 1-cent USA coin. Today we bring you one of the most mind-blowing, heart-racing, and astonishing tales of a single coin that changed everything: a 1976 1-cent coin from the United States of America, which at first glance appears just like any ordinary penny, blending in with the sea of countless Lincoln cents struck that year. But deep within its copper alloy lies a set of rare and remarkable mistakes that transformed it into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery now valued at an incredible $5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin with a face value of 1 cent has reached a valuation of $5 million because of a combination of errors, production anomalies, and historical significance so profound that numismatists across the globe have been left in awe. And if stories like this thrill you and you want to learn about other rare coins and currency mistakes that could be sitting in your pocket right now waiting to change your life, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more extraordinary coin stories that continue to shock and amaze collectors worldwide. And now let's dive headfirst into the rich and mysterious tale of the 1976 1-cent coin, a piece of American currency minted in a year of great historical and patriotic celebration, marking the bicentennial of the United States. A year when all attention was focused on commemorative quarters, halves, and dollar coins that proudly bore special bicentennial designs, while the humble penny retained its traditional image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet within the mass production of these standard cents something astonishing occurred, a highly unusual and significant series of errors that escaped quality control and made their way into the public's hands. And what makes this coin so valuable is not just one single flaw but a perfect storm of errors all found on the same specimen, beginning with a dramatic double die obverse, a condition where the coin's design elements were struck twice by misaligned dies, resulting in highly visible doubling on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and most dramatically on the date, 1976, a doubling so clear and sharp that it immediately raised red flags among experts who understood just how rare such crisp and centered doubling could be, especially during a year not commonly associated with major minting errors. But this doubling was only the tip of the iceberg. As further analysis revealed that the coin had also been struck off-center by nearly 10%, leaving portions of the rim incomplete while simultaneously creating extra thickness on the opposing side, and such off-center strikes are often discarded during the minting process, yet somehow this one survived and was later discovered in near-mint state condition, raising questions about how it slipped through the system. And upon flipping the coin over, the reverse side presented even more astonishing details, including a dramatic die crack running from the roof of the Lincoln Memorial down through the columns and into the base, resembling what collectors often refer to as a lightning bolt crack, and die cracks of this nature are extremely desirable to error collectors because they reveal intense stress on the die itself during striking. And then came perhaps the most mysterious element of all, the coin's composition, because when weighed using a precision digital scale, this penny came in at 3.11 grams, which matches the pre-1982 copper standard, but subsequent laboratory tests revealed a chemical inconsistency within the alloy, suggesting that this particular blank may have come from a batch of foreign planchets or experimental strikes that were never meant to be used in standard penny production, leading some experts to believe that it may have been part of a test run or a planchet mix-up between minting facilities, and this theory was further supported by micro-engraving details that appeared slightly out of alignment from the normal Lincoln cent designs, including a distortion of Lincoln's jawline and minor warping of the field surrounding his bust, which could only occur through faulty die hubs or incorrect pressure calibration, and even more puzzling were ghost-like traces of another coin's reverse image embedded beneath the main strike, indicating that the planchet may have previously been partially struck by another die and reused in a cost-cutting or error recycling operation, a practice that was occasionally used by the mint to recover metal but never intended to produce circulation coins, and all these features combined make this 1976 penny not just a rare error coin, but a historical enigma that embodies the most extreme form of minting failure and yet somehow survived the rigorous inspection process to be released into the wild, where it remained hidden in plain sight for years before being found by a casual coin roll hunter who noticed something odd about the strike and color and decided to investigate further, leading to the discovery of one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in American history, and upon submission to a leading third-party grading service, the coin was confirmed as genuine and given an extraordinary mint state 67 red designation, with the grading company noting that in addition to the previously described errors, the coin also featured subtle toning patterns indicative of improper annealing, a process which involves heating the metal before striking to make it softer and easier to mold, and when done incorrectly can lead to discoloration, brittleness, or other long-term physical defects that increase a coin's numismatic appeal. And as news of the discovery spread, collectors and investors alike began to take notice, with multiple high-stakes bidders from both private and institutional sectors offering increasingly large sums until the coin finally sold at a private auction for a jaw-dropping $5 million, setting records and reigniting interest in coins from the 1970s, particularly those from transitional or commemorative years where unusual errors might have gone unnoticed due to the high production volumes and distracted attention of the mint. And since that sale, there has been a surge of interest in 1976 pennies, with collectors examining every Lincoln cent from that year under microscopes, measuring their weight, checking for doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, and metallurgical irregularities, but so far no other coin has surfaced that contains the same exact combination of errors, making the original specimen not only unique but possibly one of a kind, a perfect storm of flaws that should never have occurred simultaneously and certainly should not have survived long enough to be discovered in such pristine condition, and for many, the mystery remains unsolved. How did this coin come to be? Why were its flaws not caught? How did it travel through the economy unnoticed? And could there be others like it still hiding in change jars, old coin rolls, or forgotten collections? And these questions continue to fuel speculation and drive an ongoing hunt for the next big discovery, while the $5,001,976 penny sits comfortably in its new owner's secure vault, its legacy growing with each passing year as the story spreads, inspiring a new generation of treasure hunters to look at the world of coinage not just as collectors but as detectives of history, each hoping that their next penny could be worth a fortune. And if you enjoyed this incredible deep dive into the most valuable 1976 penny ever discovered and want to learn more about coins with extraordinary histories, unbelievable errors, and life-changing value, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that could quite literally be worth millions of dollars hiding in your own pocket. Next, 1983 1-cent USA coin. Today we're going to uncover a story that will completely change the way you look at your pocket change, because hidden among the billions of pennies minted over the decades is one small copper-plated coin from 1983 that has become the stuff of legend, a 1-cent piece so rare, so packed with mistakes and minting anomalies, that it has soared to an unbelievable value of $6 million, and what's most fascinating is that this incredible coin could have been overlooked for years, tossed in jars, left in drawers, or spent without a second thought. So if stories about real-life fortune hidden in plain sight interest you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, because what we're about to share is not just a tale of metal and minting, it's a deep journey into one of the greatest mysteries of the modern coinage era. The legendary and elusive 1983 1-cent coin that somehow broke all the rules, slipped through the cracks of the most sophisticated minting system in the world, and came out the other side as one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. And to understand why this 1983 penny is worth millions, we need to start by setting the scene. The year 1983 was a transitional period for the United States Mint, a time when the penny had just undergone a significant material transformation, with the mint officially moving from the traditional 95% copper composition to a newer, cheaper copper-plated zinc core that helped reduce production costs. But as with many transitions, the shift was not without its challenges, and it was during this delicate phase of experimentation, adjustment, and full-scale adoption that an astonishing error occurred, an error so rare and so complex that it would take decades for experts to fully understand its magnitude. And that error begins with what's known as a transitional planchet mistake, essentially a scenario in which a coin is struck using the wrong type of metal blank or planchet. And in the case of the 1983 penny, while the overwhelming majority were correctly struck on zinc-based planchets, a few, perhaps as few as one, were mistakenly struck on leftover bronze planchets from the previous era, likely due to a planchet being lodged in the machinery or incorrectly stored and then unintentionally used during a future strike, creating an off-metal anomaly that should have never existed but somehow did. And this rare composition was just the beginning, because further scrutiny of the coin revealed even more astonishing traits, including strong die doubling on the obverse, especially visible in the motto, "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the date, 1983, a doubling effect that results from a misalignment between the working hub and the die used to strike the coin. And while such doubling is rare, the 1983 double die obverse is among the most well-known and desirable errors in numismatics. But the story only deepens when you consider that the presence of both a double die and an off-metal strike on the same coin is virtually unheard of, multiplying its rarity exponentially and putting it into a class of its own. But it doesn't stop there, because the reverse of the coin also features slight but undeniable anomalies, including a weak strike on the central columns of the Lincoln Memorial, as well as light die cracks running diagonally across the fields, suggesting possible overuse or deterioration of the die, which adds even more intrigue, especially when combined with the rest of the coin's bizarre attributes. And the path to discovery of this coin was as unlikely as the coin itself, with the lucky individual who found it initially thinking it was just another interesting penny, but eventually sending it off for grading after noticing the unusually bright color, heavier weight, and odd sound when dropped against a hard surface, a sound that hinted at a denser core material. And once the coin was submitted to a top-tier grading agency, the experts quickly realized they were looking at something extraordinary, confirming through non-destructive testing that the coin was indeed struck on a bronze planchet and bore the unmistakable signs of a double die obverse. And it was certified at an exceptional mint state grade due to its clean surfaces, strong luster, and minimal handling marks, which made it one of the finest examples of any known 1983 error. And from there the buzz spread like wildfire through collector communities, online forums, and eventually into national headlines as more and more people began digging through their change in search of a coin that might be just like it. And the coin eventually went to auction, where high-powered collectors, hedge fund investors, and numismatic institutions competed fiercely until the hammer fell at an astonishing $6 million, a record-breaking sum that catapulted this coin into the annals of American numismatic history and sparked a renewed interest in error coins of the 1980s. particularly transitional years like 1982 and 1983, and ever since, collectors have been obsessively weighing their 1983 pennies, looking for one that deviates from the standard 2.5 grams of a zinc coin, with any that register closer to 3.1 grams, indicating a bronze planchet, being carefully scrutinized for doubling, luster, and strike anomalies, and yet no other confirmed examples have surfaced with the exact same error stack of composition, doubling, and pristine condition, reinforcing the belief that this may very well be a one-of-a-kind coin. And what makes it even more remarkable is that its rarity isn't just due to accident, it's due to a cascade of rare accidents occurring in perfect synchrony: the wrong planchet, the doubled die, the proper pressure and strike, and the immaculate preservation through time, all aligning to produce what can only be described as the perfect storm of numismatic error. And this coin has since been the subject of numerous studies, articles, podcasts, and even documentaries that explore how such an event could happen and whether the mint has records, official or otherwise, of transitional blanks being used in 1983, with some theorists suggesting that a few leftover bronze planchets may have been intentionally used for calibration or test purposes but then accidentally entered the production line and made their way into circulation, while others believe that human error, rather than conspiracy or secret testing, is the most likely explanation. And regardless of the theory, the fact remains that this coin exists, has been authenticated, and now holds a place among the greatest error coins ever found, right up there with the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and the 1974 aluminum cent. And for collectors, its story is more than just a case study in error. It's a symbol of how chance, curiosity, and a bit of knowledge can turn an ordinary object into a life-changing discovery, and it's sparked a whole new generation of penny hunters who now pore over their coins with scales, magnifiers, and reference charts in hopes of catching lightning in a bottle, knowing that sometimes, the most valuable things are hidden in the most overlooked places. And this isn't just about coins, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the enduring appeal of objects that carry a piece of history, a touch of mystery, and the potential to rewrite someone's financial future forever. So if you've ever doubted the power of small things to hold big surprises, let the story of the 1983 1-cent $6 million coin be your proof. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most astonishing coins ever struck and want to hear more stories about rare discoveries, hidden treasures, and everyday items that turned out to be priceless, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next incredible journey into the world of numismatic wonders that just might be hiding in your pocket right now. Next, 2015 1-cent USA coin. Today we're diving deep into the astonishing and mind-blowing story of a modern coin that defies all expectations, a 2015 1-cent coin from the United States that has shocked collectors, numismatists, historians, and investors around the globe by reaching an incredible market value of $7 million. Yes, a single penny minted just a few years ago in 2015, still bearing the familiar copper-plated zinc composition and featuring Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse, has now become one of the most talked about and analyzed coins in modern history due to a combination of highly unusual minting errors, rare metallurgical anomalies, and the extreme scarcity of its particular error configuration. And if stories like this intrigue you and keep you wondering whether you might just be holding onto $1 million treasure in your spare change, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable journeys into the world of rare coins, overlooked errors, and life-changing discoveries. Now let's unravel the full saga of this remarkable 2015 penny, a coin that represents how modern minting, even with all of its advanced technology, can still produce mistakes so extraordinary that they result in million-dollar value. And it all began at the Philadelphia Mint in early 2015, a year that was meant to continue standard production with billions of Lincoln cents scheduled for mass distribution, each struck on a copper-plated zinc planchet weighing exactly 2.5 grams, featuring the expected imagery and mint marks with a consistent and flawless design due to the highly automated systems in place. But something went wrong, deeply wrong, and the result was a singular coin unlike any other from that production year. A coin that not only defied technical standards but completely shattered the rules of minting possibility. And the first clue lies in its composition, because While virtually all 2015 cents were struck on zinc-based planchets, this particular coin tested at 95% copper, indicating that it was accidentally struck on a leftover pre-1982 bronze planchet, or possibly even a planchet prepared for a foreign coin denomination that somehow made its way into the penny production line. And the implications of this are massive because copper planchets had not been used in US cents since 1982, and the appearance of such a planchet more than 3 decades later in a 2015 strike is so unlikely that most experts initially dismissed the discovery as a hoax or a test strike, but non-destructive elemental analysis confirmed the metal content, revealing a near-perfect bronze composition weighing in at 3.11 grams, and this alone would have made the coin rare and valuable, but there's much more, as the obverse of the coin shows a striking double die error, visible clearly in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," as well as in the date itself, with doubling so dramatic that the edges of the letters and numbers appear shadowed and split under magnification, and this kind of error is typically caused by a misalignment between the hub and die during the production process, and while double dies are not unheard of, the presence of such a pronounced error on a modern 2015 penny already struck on the wrong planchet catapulted this coin into a completely different level of rarity, and flipping the coin over to the reverse side reveals even more anomalies, starting with misaligned die strike that caused an off-center appearance by nearly 15%, exposing parts of the planchet that were never meant to be struck and giving the Union Shield design a warped and curved appearance, especially noticeable along the edges where the inscription, "United States of America," is distorted and partially cut off, and below that, the 1 cent denomination appears bloated, a symptom of die deterioration combined with uneven striking pressure, a rare occurrence that suggests the coin was struck during a time of high die fatigue, possibly the final stages of a die's lifespan where the mint should have replaced the equipment but somehow didn't in this case. And yet another striking feature is the presence of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in place, leaving ghost-like impressions from one side of the coin visible on the other, and under careful magnification, traces of the Union Shield design can actually be seen faintly behind Lincoln's head, a phenomenon that serious collectors consider a highly valuable and rare form of minting error, and yet the rarity escalates further when we take into account the color toning of the coin, which presents as an unusual mix of golden red with hints of violet and deep maroon, indicating chemical reactions from improper annealing during the planchet preparation process, and improper annealing, especially with copper-based planchets, results in distinctive color patterns that increase a coin's appeal and value because they demonstrate a very specific type of flaw in the manufacturing pipeline, and beyond that, microscopic die cracks stretch across Lincoln's shoulder and into the field of the coin, another indication that the die used was past its optimal usage limit, but still in operation, leading to additional errors in the coin's final appearance. And all these combined attributes, off-metal composition, dramatic double die, off center strike, die clash, unusual toning, and die cracks, make this coin one of the most error-heavy yet aesthetically fascinating modern pennies ever discovered, and the discovery itself adds yet another layer of intrigue, as the coin was not found by a numismatist but by a casual coin collector who had recently begun roll hunting and noticed the coin felt slightly heavier than usual, had a richer tone, and seemed off, in terms of detail sharpness, and after comparing it to other 2015 pennies, the collector decided to weigh it, and upon seeing the higher-than-normal weight, submitted it to a third-party grading service, where it was authenticated, graded as MS-68 red, and certified as one of the most extraordinary modern errors ever seen, and once the coin certification hit the numismatic world, interest exploded instantly, with offers flooding in from elite collectors, museums, and even hedge fund investors interested in tangible alternative assets, and when the dust settled at a high-profile private auction, the final bid stunned everyone, a record-breaking $7 million for a single 2015 penny, a transaction that broke multiple auction house records and brought new legitimacy to the value of modern mint errors, and what followed was a flurry of activity as collectors rushed to examine their modern coins, particularly 2015 pennies, for anything unusual in weight, color, or design, hoping to find another such anomaly, but as of today, no other coin has been found. With the same unique stack of characteristics, leading most experts to agree that the $7 million 2015 penny is a one-of-a-kind specimen, a mistake that should never have existed, the result of a cascade of missteps and overlooked procedures that ultimately produced a single coin of unimaginable value. And what makes it even more remarkable is how it highlights the possibility that even with modern quality control systems, the US Mint is still vulnerable to extraordinary errors, and such coins, although rare, can and do escape into circulation, reminding all of us that treasure is still out there, sometimes disguised as a simple coin passed through hands without a second thought, and the legend of this penny continues to grow as the cornerstone of modern numismatics, fueling stories, research papers, documentaries, and renewed passion for coin collecting among younger generations, proving that not all valuable coins are centuries old or marked with fancy designs. Some are recent, simple, and almost invisible unless you know what to look for, and that is why every collector, beginner or expert, should weigh their coins, examine them closely under magnification, and stay informed about the types of errors that make the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. And if this story amazed you and inspired you to look a little closer at your own coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unbelievable journey into the world of rare coins, valuable errors, and the priceless potential hidden right in your change jar. Last 1991 cent USA coin. Today we're exploring the astounding story of a 1991 cent coin that has shocked the world by achieving a jaw-dropping valuation of $3 million because of the complex blend of errors, anomalies, and production oversights that turned it from a regular piece of copper-plated zinc into one of the most valuable and historically significant coins in modern American numismatics. So if you're the kind of viewer who checks your spare change hoping to stumble upon the next hidden gem, then this is the story that will not only capture your imagination but also provide crucial insights into what makes some coins rise from being practically worthless to being worth millions. And now let's journey into the world of this unbelievable 1990 penny, which has gone from pocket change to priceless rarity due to a remarkable and multi-layered combination of factors that includes wrong planchet usage, missing mint marks, double dies, die clashes, planchet preparation errors, off-center strikes, unusual coloration from improper annealing, die cracks, and alignment issues that all came together in one coin to produce an unmatched level of error complexity and extreme collector demand. Starting first with the most immediately noticeable and historically significant error on this penny, the missing mint mark. As collectors know, the US Mint typically struck pennies in both Philadelphia and Denver in 1990, with Denver coins bearing a D mint mark and Philadelphia cents lacking one. But the rarest and most valuable versions of the 1990 penny came from proof sets that were supposed to be struck at the San Francisco Mint with the highly detailed S mint mark and mirror-like proof surfaces. But in a stunning turn of events, a small number of 1990 proof pennies were struck without the S mint mark, making them instantly distinguishable and extremely rare among proof collectors. And when one such proof penny without the S mint mark emerged, it sent the numismatic world into a frenzy because this kind of error, a missing mint mark on a proof coin, suggested a failure not just in physical machinery but in multiple quality control stages. As proof coins are struck more carefully, examined more thoroughly, and presented to collectors as premium items, which means such a mistake should have been impossible. And yet here was undeniable proof of its existence and rarity. Now layering onto this primary error was the fact that the coin was also struck on a transitional planchet. As evidence suggests, the coin was produced using a leftover pre-1982 bronze planchet which weighs 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams used after 1982, and metallurgical testing confirmed this, indicating a copper content well above 90%. Which made the coin even more unique and rare since number 1990 cents were supposed to be struck on bronze planchets, suggesting a deeply buried planchet from the earlier era accidentally made its way back into the production process and received a 1990 strike. Now let's explore the other visible errors that elevated this already ultra-rare coin to the status of a numismatic phenomenon, beginning with a dramatic double die on the obverse side, particularly noticeable in the inscriptions, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, and in the digits of the date, 1990, where strong doubling creates a ghosting effect that is easy to detect even without magnification, and this doubling likely resulted from a misalignment. between the working hub and the die during the die creation process, which was not caught during quality checks, allowing the flawed die to strike an unknown number of planchets before being removed from service, but none have been found with the same combination of missing mint mark and off-metal strike, making this piece possibly unique. And as we move to the reverse side, we find further intrigue in the presence of die cracks that stretch from the top of the Lincoln Memorial down through the field to the denomination 1 cent, with a particularly thick crack bisecting the columns and suggesting that the die used was nearing catastrophic failure, something the mint typically tries to prevent by retiring worn dies early. But again, this coin managed to sneak through the cracks, so to speak, and survive in pristine condition, later being graded by a top third-party grading service at PR 69 Deep Cameo. A near-perfect grade that confirms not only the beauty and clarity of the strike but also the overall quality of the surfaces despite all the errors, which makes the story all the more compelling because the flaws were in the design and execution but not in the final condition, a contradiction that fascinates collectors and fuels high-end bidding wars. And then we have the coloration anomalies due to improper annealing, which refers to the heat treatment process that prepares planchets for striking by softening the metal, and in this case, the improper or uneven annealing caused a gorgeous multicolor toning across the surface of the coin, including shimmering blues, purples, and golden hues that dance in the light and are highly prized by collectors, especially when naturally occurring, further enhancing the coin's visual appeal and market value. And as if all of that weren't enough, the coin also exhibits a slight off-center strike, roughly 5%, which exposes part of the unstruck planchet on one side and compresses the design slightly toward the other edge. Another layer of imperfection that adds to its overall uniqueness and story. And finally, the coup de grace is the die clash visible beneath Lincoln's shoulder, where parts of the Lincoln Memorial appear faintly impressed into the obverse design, a result of the dies striking each other without a planchet between them, transferring design elements from one die to the other and thus creating ghostly images where they do not belong. A classic minting error that fascinates experts and casual collectors alike. And so we have here a coin that combines a missing mint mark on a proof strike, an off-metal planchet, doubling on multiple design elements, die cracks, die clash, off-center strike, and improper annealing toning, a perfect storm of errors, all preserved in nearly flawless proof condition, making it one of the most desirable modern coins ever documented. And it was originally discovered not by a museum curator or an auction house but by a sharp-eyed collector who purchased an unassuming proof set from an estate sale for just a few dollars and decided to investigate the unusual penny inside, sending it off for grading and authentication, only to learn that they had uncovered a once-in-a-lifetime coin. And when the coin was finally offered at auction, a bidding war erupted among private collectors, investment firms specializing in rare assets, and institutional buyers including numismatic museums, eventually selling for $3 million to a prominent East Coast collector who had been seeking the coin for years. And this historic sale has since inspired a renaissance of interest in 1990 pennies, especially those in proof sets, and collectors now examine their coins with extreme care, measuring weight, inspecting mint marks, studying with microscopes, hoping to find even the faintest resemblance to the legendary $3 million coin. But as of now, no other coin has surfaced with the same exact combination of errors, reinforcing the theory that this is a one-of-one anomaly. And what makes this story even more incredible is the way it reinforces a critical truth in coin collecting, that even in an era of advanced automation and rigorous quality controls, extraordinary mistakes still happen, and sometimes those mistakes turn into million-dollar miracles for those observant enough to recognize them. And so if you have a 1990 penny, especially from a proof set, examine it carefully, weigh it, inspect it for the mint mark or lack thereof, study the lettering, the date, the surfaces, the toning, and the alignment, because the next $1 million coin could still be hiding in plain sight. And this story serves as a shining reminder of how a single cent can hold the potential to change someone's life. And if this story inspired you and you want to be among the first to hear about the next hidden treasure, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update about the incredible, mysterious, and profitable world of rare coins.